That's a lot of propolis. Welcome back to the wet coast, and it is a beautiful mid-May day. We're in that weird heat dome that's happening right now, and it's about 25 degrees Celsius. I don't know, puts it around 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Not entirely sure, but it is warm. Last year, I got a package of bees from a local beekeeper down in Nanaimo, British Columbia, and they made it through the winter. And it is now warm enough for me to perform the first inspection of the year. I also have something I probably have to address with the hive just because of something that I did that probably not the best thing to do. I'll show you what that is. So in December last year, I was a little bit concerned about the amount of reserves that the hive had. So what I did is I took a quilt box that I had kicking around and I stapled a queen excluder to the bottom of it, and I packed it full of sugar, just turning it into a candy board. Now the problem is, it's been on there for a while. You can see by the bees, they are very happy, they are very active, and there's a lot of them. I'm a little concerned that what's happened is they've eaten all the sugar in there and now they're starting to build burr comb. Fortunately, I didn't use like a shallow, or even worse, a deep to make a candy board with. That would have just been a nightmare, but got to take the cover off. Gonna take this candy board off, see what kind of nastiness is in there. Because I used the queen excluder as the actual grid for the foundation of the sugar, I know the queen can't get up in there and lay eggs, so that's a small blessing. So I'm gonna suit up, I'm gonna light my smoker, and I'm gonna check the hive and see how it's doing in there. I do have a box with some frames set aside just in case I have to split the hive. It isn't quite into swarm season yet, but like I said, it's been very warm, very unseasonably warm, and who knows, maybe the hive is kicking into high gear and I'm gonna see some swarm cells in there. That's what I have to be on top of now for the next few months. So, put on my jacket, light the smoker, and let's get to it. Let's have a look. Well, I gotta admit, I wasn't expecting this, and this is a pleasant surprise. You can see the bees have worked away almost all of the sugar that was in there. The sugar itself was almost to the top of the quilt board here, and they haven't built any comb in here. Well, that makes me quite happy. So I think I'm gonna pry this thing off and start the inspection. So just before the season wrapped up last year, I put this shallow on with a bunch of frames in it. Most of them weren't drawn out, and it was just a little extra breathing room for the bees. And holy smoke, have they ever drawn this out nicely. See lots of nice new white comb in there. There are a lot of bees in this box. We've got a fair bit of nectar going in there. It's a bit of heft to this frame. So what I usually like to do is have a spare box kicking around, and then I'll move a couple of frames in there once I make sure the queen's not on there. But also I like to put it on an inverted top cover just in case the queen is on there and I haven't seen her. She can't fall to the ground and get stepped on or whatever. She'll most likely just climb back up if she does fall off. Just a little bit of safety, and that gives me enough room to just push these frames around after I inspect them. I don't see any brood in this box yet. If there was, I would leave the frames in order. Otherwise, I'm just going to push them off to the side as I look at each one. Already I see I've got some brood, and I've got some capped honey off around the corners. This one I will leave in the center, or where I found it. So they've drawn this comb out a little bit weird. Oh, and there's a drone right there. So yeah, swarm season's coming. I think I might scrape all that. This is all drone comb. There's mostly drones on this side. I might scrape that off. I'll leave it. Well, unfortunately my camera stopped right after I pulled out the third frame there and the first deep on top. Not a big deal though, because the next frame I found the queen, and it was the marked queen that I got with the package that I installed a year ago. And I found a couple of swarm cells, but they were practice cells. And that's when I decided to stop the inspection. This hive is very healthy. I didn't want to tear it all the way apart. I've got lots of brood, I've got lots of honey, lots of nectar, lots of pollen. This hive is booming. I don't have to look too much more into it. I will do another inspection in 2 weeks, maybe a week. We'll see how it goes. I'm not worried about those swarm cells. I did see a handful of drones in there, which is a good indicator that we are going to get into the swarm season. The queen's laid a lot of drones. They're in there. I took care of the burr comb, and that's about as far as I wanted to get today. I just wanted to make sure that this hive was healthy and it had lots of resources. And it does. Anyways, sorry about the shortness of the video. I wish the camera hadn't turned itself off, but you know, sometimes that happens. Yay, GoPro. As always, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.